us young people don't ask questions and the old people don't tell you.
Well, let's start by talking about when they lived in Germany.
I have no
When did they come over? When did Grandpa Taylor come over?
I don't know when Grandpa came. I know he came sometime before Grandma, and he set up a stake in Pennsylvania of some kind, find a job or something. And he got the money to send to them for to come. But instead of sending it to them, he sent it to these people in Montague, and we never found out who they were.
Relatives.
They were Grandma's cousins. We never found out their name, and they figured, well, as long as she's coming, she might as well come and visit them first. They had no comprehension of the distance from here to Pennsylvania. So she might as well come here first. So when Grandpa found that out, why, he just pulled up stakes in Pennsylvania and came here.
Well, what year was that?
That was 1880, and I'm sure it was in the fall.
So she came over in maybe the late summer of 1880?
Late summer or fall of 1880.
And who were the children she had?
Well, all I know of is that she had Aunt Mary, Marie, and Wilhelm, and Wilhelmina.
Was she pregnant?
No.
And her mother came along too?
Yeah, her mother. Oh, what was her name? Wilhelmina Albrecht.
Yes. They must have come to New York.
I'm sure they had to come in through the harbor past, through Ellis Island. Of course, the Statue of Liberty wasn't there yet.
How would they have gotten from New York to Montague?
By train.
The whole trip?
Sure, that's all there was. Only way there was to travel. I don't know.
So was Grandpa Taylor in Pennsylvania?
No, he was here.
Oh, how long had he been here?
I have no idea. I just know that these were sketches that we heard. That he was here and he went to the station there in between Montague and Whitehall, and more in Whitehall, and looked every morning to see if she came. There must have been a train come in every day.
Do you have any idea how long he looked?
No. Too bad we didn't ask. He would have been able to communicate with us and tell us. What kids are interested in that stuff?
Well, that was about a 6-mile trip for him in the morning?
Yeah, morning and night. You go morning and go back.
What kind of a place did he have established?
I have no idea. Must have been a little cottage there in that community. There was I don't know what there was there. That was it lumbering or what? That there was that cemetery book that we've got describes and I don't know where that is now. I get stuff put away and I don't know where it is.
So he would have come...
There was a settlement there.
By way of Old Channel Trail?
Yeah.
That probably would have been there even then, right?
Oh yeah, sure. There had to be some kind of a road going all along there.
So how would he have traveled that distance?
I suppose horse and wagon. He had to bring his family home. He couldn't go by horseback.
Yeah. And there was some type of bridge over White Lake there?
You mean the...
White River?
Yeah, the over White River. There had to be. Because all the traveling going up north went there. And just a 2-track, of course.
So, what did you hear about what it was like for your grandma and great-grandma when they arrived?
Well, she was very upset because she knew it wasn't the right place. I don't know how she could know that it wasn't the right place.
She didn't have any English.
No, she had her, the kids, or the grandma. But the station master must have been warned Grandpa must have told him who he was looking for and that he would be back again the next morning, every day, he told her. Because he told Grandma that her husband had been there every morning and that she should just stay there. And her husband would come in the morning.
So
They didn't go to motels in them days.
She arrived later, after he had already
Yeah.
left that day.
She arrived later in the day. I suppose he couldn't stay there all day. Don't know how many days it was. I wasn't, none of us were interested in that stuff. Just like that picture of your Grandma Mullally's childhood home. It hung there in Grandma's house all these years. Doris and Helen saw it. But why in the world didn't we get it and get a copy made of it? Grown up, married, and have families, and you're still not interested in that stuff. So then they took his family back there. Must have had something. They had to have some kind of living quarters. It would be very, very meager. I don't know how he was making a living.
What was the first you ever heard of them living in a specific location that you know of?
Well, I always knew him living on McMillan Road. We didn't know what the name of the road didn't have a name. We knew where Grandma and Grandpa lived.
That was the house that burned down.
Yeah, that's the house. I remember that, and I remember sleeping upstairs in it and visiting and seeing all Grandma's vases. She had a whole bunch of vases. They must have been carnival glass and all that stuff. They were blue, I remember, and we each had one picked out that we were going to get. They all burned up. I
So
remember.
would they have already been living in that before the turn of the century?
Oh, sure.
So that picture that we have of 1894 with your great-grandma, they already would have been in that house at that time?
Oh, sure, they were there. I assume they moved there. My mother was born in 81 in White River, up at Mouth. But they maybe moved in 82, 83, come to Fruitland.
What do you think the Montague Whitehall area was like?
I have no idea.
It must have been mostly wilderness, I think.
Well, I suppose it was about like North Muskegon. Farms. Big, they were grouped closer together, but they were still not little city lots.
Was there a road from Whitehall to Muskegon?
Well, there had to be.
It was probably the same place where 31 is today.
Yeah, well, Whitehall Road.
Yeah.
Whitehall Road.
Was there any reason for your grandparents to go to Muskegon?
Yes, they sold wood. And Grandma sold her knitting, her mittens and her socks that she made. She didn't go out and peddle them, she took orders for them. And she would go to town with the load of wood and sit on the load of wood, or sit on the seat hauling the load of wood, and knit under the blankets. Keep her hands warm, and she'd knit, and the horse would follow the road. Knit all the way home. The horse went by himself. She knit the German way. I never learned that way. Mary Lindner that way. They go like wildfire. Knit. You knit the German way. I learned from your Grandma Mullally, and I knit the way I do. You knit, you see, and you put your needle through, and then you pick up your yarn and go around the needle and pull it back. When you're knitting the German way, you hold the yarn in your left hand, and you just go through and pull it. You can go about 3 times as fast.
So you're actually only using one hand.
No, you're holding your
You're not doing anything with that hand. Just holding some.
oh, you're holding your material and your yarn. You do that with when you're knitting right-handed, only that you've got your yarn in your right hand, and you have to lay it down, lay the needle down, and put the yarn around.
Your Grandpa Taylor had much better English than his wife.
Yeah.
Did that mean that you were closer to him?
No. We never got close to Grandpa. Never conversed with him. Only if we were going to ride do you want to ride, or I'll take you to ride to school or something. I don't know how we conversed with him. We were more or less scared of him. He wasn't one to, well, I suppose in a way he might have been like Uncle George. The grandchildren, he wouldn't hold that baby. Michelle wanted to give him the whole baby. He wouldn't hold the baby. Just like Kathy. He never fussed with Kathy. Didn't fuss with Doris and Helen, or Charlie or Dick, where Aunt Jane did and Uncle Dick did with Doris and Helen. He'd go to the bassinet and pick them up and hold them. Little tiny baby. Uncle George never did. So that's maybe about the way that her grandpa was. So we came here, and I don't know much about that, except I imagine Aunt Lily, Aunt Uncle Paul, and Aunt Sophie. That was 3 kids were born there in the old house, and it was a new house at that time on McNown Road.
Have you known all these years that there was these homes that existed?
I never made no connection. Never knew that it was that one until just, I'd say, in the last 10 years maybe. I don't know how I found out.
How do you know that it is?
Oh, I know that.
How do you know?
I can't say. It's the only railroad station there is. It serves Montague and Whitehall. Red Workman, he stopped there.
They were going to tear it down.
Yeah, they worked to save it. That's like they were going to tear down the current house too, and me and a whole bunch of other ones. I didn't do much except write a couple letters and do some telephoning, which we should have done for the courthouse. I didn't know that, never realized that the people have something to say about that. Just like the people getting on their back for letting that suspected racist out.
Did the sailors and the males have a meet?
The Taylors and the Neals, sure, and Grandma Neal and Grandma Taylor, of course, they met.
They had, you said two children that married each other.
Yeah.
How close did they live together?
Oh, well, Grandma was in town. Grandma Neal, she was Neal at that time, and Grandma Taylor was out here in the country. And it was, I bet it's not 50 something. It was Grandma Neal that in the older, when she got older, she wasn't such a pretty woman. Well, a lot of the time, Grandma Mullally, she was a pretty lady. She was a pretty old lady. Oh. Yeah, Sophie, they were all pretty. Even the pictures on the cover of that book, they're pretty, let alone see the pictures.
want all of violence and stuff, or it's a musical style.
I told Terry right to her face, that you look to me, your dad got all of it. Who told him? Did Terry tell me that his dad did just look to his senior? He wanted it. All his sisters. So there is a communication between together. Maybe Lawrence figured he had enough to share with
I remember when Country House came out, we had a seven syndication.
I don't even remember Country
Two houses.
Elaine. Now that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's next. Sure, they weren't even home. Everything burned. That's it. He just loved it.
What was Terry like?
Well, to a little bit, I don't know. He's real friendly and everything, but I think to a little bit he might be a little blowhard. I'd say he sort of brags about that he don't believe in, he just had a t-shirt and jeans on. This is all when he's supposed to say it. He said, I wear a little bit better jeans than this. But he said, I don't blame him. He said, they see a salesman coming when you're dressed up in a suit and tie.
How do you have to do it?
I don't know. He was so in trouble. He had, no, not trouble. Madison was not. I was thinking about it. He had to go through trouble. But he came over, his mother's got a sister in South Bend, so he's got cousins that he grew up with. 2 years to 10 years. It was 10 years when they moved away. So he spent time in South Bend with his mother's sister. Or something like that. I think his mother's got a sister out in Arizona too. And they were on the out. There's some little bit of a thing. And he said it was the kid that got a reunion. And Senior Oregon come. Said he can't see that. You know, over some little thing. Well, I agree with that.
The reason I asked you about your grandparents, specifically about that meeting, and got together here in the United States, is because I'm going to take that little diagram of the two codes and put it at the top of a sheet of paper, and then I'm going to type up the story and take it along with it, and as much detail as we know. Make a lot of copies of that, and I'll use that stationery, so that whenever I send a letter to somebody, I'll write it like that we get the word out, that building is one of our historic landmarks.
Yeah. I'm glad we stopped there and went in and saw it. Saw the original story of the burn mark and it's from the old Popeye story. They sit out people that have got fireplaces, get burned places on the road, so that's the same way there. It's fire out. Some lady in church, I didn't see her today. I don't know when they did go to Florida. They're not members of the church, but I finally this summer when we have coffee out in front, we get me a coffee. Look at her, looks like my mother. She wears her hair down. Well, I do that because I'm so short. And she and my mother is short too. So last week I showed her that picture. She said, well, she was glad that I showed it to her. She did say that she could see where different people stood the tunnel. Like, stop. Stop. He said, stop. He stopped to stop the tunnel off. It might not be in this step. Yeah, what he said. Yeah. There he is. They don't have any children there, like they got Brenneman.
And you think he looks like this?
Down.
You see it? The mouth?
Here it is again. This is the last step. There they've got the two little girls. That's Dr. Clinton's daughter.
In the late 1870s, Charles Taylor came to America from Mullally, Germany, and established himself in Pennsylvania. When he had enough money to send for his family, he made arrangements with his wife's cousins in Montague, Michigan, for his wife Caroline Albrecht Taylor, his daughters Marie and Wilhelmina, and his mother-in-law Wilhelmina Beckeros Albrecht to travel by train from New York to the rail station in Whitehall, Michigan. By this time, Charles Taylor had a place in Montague, and when his family was due, he drove his horse and wagon 6 miles along the old Channel Trail and across the bridge into Whitehall to the train station each day to fetch for them. In the autumn of 1880, they arrived one day too late and had to sleep in the station overnight to await Mr. Taylor's morning visit. With none of them knowing English, it must have been a bewildering experience for them. These descendants of Charles and Caroline Taylor are fortunate that this family landmark has been preserved for the public to visit and view in its original condition. You will find this former rail station on Old 31 between downtown Whitehall and the bridge.